Bring back brutal superhero fights, please. Remember when the Green Goblin made Spider-Man look like a ripped, worn out men's underwear that you guys probably need to start throwing out for your own sake? Like, honestly, this shit is crazy. Look at these body shots, and this fight isn't one-sided either. Look at Peter dropping a brick wall on this man and give him a little, 1-2 combo, yes sir? Do you remember when Venom and Sandman was giving him the work too? Like, he was literally getting jumped. Or do you guys remember when Bane broke Batman's back? Like, I seriously felt that in my core. Bro, in the Flash fans, if you watched The Flash and you were young at the time, you were definitely traumatized when Thawne and Zoom absolutely were just destroying Barry. That's something that you can never escape from. Those moments will forever be ingrained in Flash fans. But why do I bring all this up? Because I feel like for a while, we've been missing these hard, brutal fights in superhero movies and shows. But I don't mean to get started, but I loved Wakanda Forever. The final battle, the brutality of it, and Emma's final fight with Kang, while the movie being kind of, shitty, that final fight without their powers, such as boxing, it was like a warm-up match for like Creed 3 for Jonathan Majors, because they were just straight boxing. And even Black Adam, with that movie being really bad, it felt, in that the action in that movie, it felt like a punch was being thrown by a god, and you can actually feel that impact. Unfortunately, this has only been a slight renaissance recently, and even then, these brutal beatdowns are not at the same length or straight up violence as they used to be. And listen, I loved Shang-Chi. I think that movie is really, really spectacular action-wise. Like, the fights in that movie were beautiful, but I wouldn't necessarily call them brutal. I want to see the sequel improve on this and have the fights leave scars and blood and bring back the blood, please. Phase 4 really isn't anything that special action-wise. I mean, I don't think you can name a single memorable fight in She-Hulk or Thor, because you can't. No Way Home actually had amazing examples of this, and actually has some of the best of any of the modern movies I've mentioned so far. But you want to know what really disappointed me? The Batman. Don't get me wrong, Bruce is brutal, and he was handing jabs like it was nobody's business, but you're telling me an inexperienced Batman with only about 2 years of experience, you're telling me his worst injury in this movie is a point-blank shotgun and he ends up tanking it anyways? With the announcement of Clayface being in the sequel, I beg that they make Bruce barely survive their first fight. Like, have this man survive within an inch of his life, and then you could go like have a final battle where like he dominates, whatever. I need the fights in that movie to be more creative and just overall more brutal. Make Bruce actually feel like he's vulnerable. Speaking of vigilantes that need to get beat up, Daredevil Born Again. All right, listen, I love to see Matt Murdock happy. He deserves it after the shit he went through in the Netflix show. And you know what? It makes complete sense where he is right now. After the Netflix show ended, but an 18 episode season of a happy Matt Murdock is not going to work. I need Fisk, Punisher, Bullseye, whoever they bring back to crush Matt's soul, make him depressed, absolutely beat him into a pulp. And a lot of you are probably going to say, why does it matter? Do we need our heroes and villains to be bloodied up for a superhero product to be good? And no, not at all. The first two Guardians of the Galaxy movies have decent final fights, not anything particularly brutal, but I don't even think they come close to beatdowns. And I don't see the third movie doing that either. Whether or not it objectively makes the movie better or not, it's not about that. It's about the integrity, the art form, and the culture that these fighters provided in old comic book projects. You know, it's really annoying when the final fight in Moon Knight, for example, is just completely skipped, or when Doctor Strange, one of the most powerful heroes with the most creative power set of all of Marvel, hasn't had a real final fight in a movie yet. In the first movie, he's just talking to Dormammu, but in the second movie, where I'll admit it's pretty awesome visual stuff with the music note fight and the demon cloak, but he never actually fought Wanda. And when I found out Wanda was going to be the villain, I expected these two to like barely be standing in the last act. Like they should have been like trying to get up from an intense fight, but that didn't happen. But whatever, I'm just rambling here. I guess this is the little rant. Whatever. I'm just saying comic book movies should go back to, in the sustainable future, back to brutal superhero fights, final fights, whatever. Evolve them. Even if the movie or show is mostly shitty, but you still follow back on these fights to give us some sort of entertainment, because nothing is worse than straight up a boring superhero film. Like, please, even if it's bad, just don't let it be boring. Please, just bring back brutal superhero fights.